Hey there, this is Tim from Insert Coin Theater, and before this episode begins, I just want to let you know that I made a goof and forgot to clear the camera's memory, so this episode doesn't have a whole lot of video. So just a fair warning that about a few minutes in, we'll be losing video, and you'll see a nifty little warning that says how much of an idiot I am. So I apologize in advance, but I hope you'll enjoy the show nonetheless, and that you will continue to join us here on Insert Coin Theater. See you next week, and enjoy the show. Once upon a time, there was 25 episodes. Bum, bum, bum. We are at the 25th episode of Insert Coin Theater.
God,
that's a lot of episodes, man.
Too many.
All right, so with this, we end the show forever. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank God.
Let's spare everybody.
Worst 25 episodes of my life.
Hello and welcome to our humble ashode. Wow. George was just spazzing out there. I know. He was spazzing out. I'm Tim.
I'm me, George.
Oh, wow. You're yourself this week.
Yeah.
You're not me. You're not someone else.
Being you gets old, all right?
Yeah, you're telling me. I got to live it, man.
I'm sorry to hear that. If I could fix that, I would, I swear.
Well.
Psham, psham.
Did you just say psham, psham?
Everybody gonna die tonight.
Shout out to Kevin Hart.
You know we love you again.
So, welcome to the show. We talk about video games because we play video games, and we love video games. And that's kind of what we do. We just
play them, and we hate them.
Yeah, they're the worst. Well, some people do. They're called critics.
Yeah. We're just normal guys.
Yeah, we just really like games.
We love the games and Mountain Dew.
So, what we do on this show, we have multiple shows. Like, we do a show called Co-op Corner where we play games together, and we record it. Stop shaking your head, George.
Sorry.
I will punch you.
I have a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
I can't control myself.
Wow. And, okay, so Co-op Corner, we play games together, we record it. We record our shenanigans. We have a good time.
All
it's
the
fun.
Shenanigans.
Lots of shenanigans. And we are doing this show to just discuss games because that's kind of what we do when we hang out. We just love talking about games and food, but that doesn't really fit the show. And,
just out of sight.
Just out of sight is some Jersey Mike's. Shout out to Jersey Mike's.
Oh, my gosh. Philly cheesesteaks for years, dog.
Oh, yeah. So we figured...
Jersey Mike's threw you off.
Dude, I'm just hungry again.
There's those subs still waiting.
You keep getting me off track. So we use this show as our excuse to talk games and talk about topics that sometimes we might not even want to delve into. And I think this week...
sensitive topics.
I think this week is one of those weeks where we're going to talk about violence in games.
We're going to give it a stabe.
And we're not talking about just violence in games. I mean, we're talking about first-person shooters a lot, but we're going to wrap it up. Our last topic is pretty hard-hitting, and there's going to be a lot of talking. And I think I'm going to play devil's advocate because George and I kind of see eye to eye on this a lot, but... I've been doing a lot of research and getting a lot of second opinions from people, and I feel like this is going to be an interesting topic, if not absolutely dull and boring. It might break out
into fisticuffs.
That would be amazing.
The views are just... That's what we need to do. Every
Two
25th
nerds fight each
episode,
other.
We just go all out.
Two nerds punch each other on camera.
No, what we need to do is dress up as Star Wars people and then lightsaber battle every
I got the
25th
helmets.
episode.
I got the helmets.
And we just whoever blacks out from head trauma wins. We'll do it opposite. Whoever's still standing loses.
So let's get started. Let's get started with the show, and then we'll kind of ease into this a little bit.
Lightsaber duels.
Yes. So let's get started.
Insert Coin Theater.
Woo!
All right.
My arm's exhausted.
All right, and welcome back.
Woo!
Woo!
That's my go-to.
You wear yourself out.
Yeah. I'm not used to swinging my arms.
Little do you guys know, he waved the whole break. The whole break. It was crazy.
Like an hour.
Yeah.
Look at that.
In dog time.
Yeah, you can't see those muscles.
In real,
there's none there.
In real people time, that was like 20
30
seconds. Well, 15, maybe.
Give me some credit, all right? That was a lot of work.
I'm not giving you any credits. I'm taking your name off the credits.
I want
like
a Smithsmortion.
Of what?
We're not allowed to talk about that. I want a divorce.
Does it rhyme with Smithsmortion?
Yeah.
You just hit the microphone. You're like, paw.
That's how.
Oh, okay.
That's how hard I wink. I just bash things with my.
Well,
winks.
it's an audible wink. It's so that
40
people.
winks.
It's so the people that are actually listening and not watching can get in on the wink.
That's actually how we do the timing for it. Instead of 1, 2, 3, we just
time it to the wink
3.
sounds.
to the beard scrapes across the mic.
Indeed.
Indubitably.
So we played Helldivers. We both have Helldivers.
Yes.
Let's talk about that a little bit before we start.
Woo!
Let's catch up a bit so that we don't have to, wait until the next catch-up episode.
25 episodes?
Well, we're not going to do 25. Probably the next, 4.
I said 24.
I'm sorry.
All
right.
Helldivers, woo!
Yeah, so
awesome.
just a little plug for ourselves.
I had to force him to play it.
No, you didn't. I wanted to play it.
Yeah.
Anyways, co-op corner. We did a Helldivers co-op corner. So good. It was very fun. And we're gonna do
We're
a
gonna have to
second
say
part.
too, it has some profanities in it.
Oh, very light. I got excited. I'm sorry. I apologize in advance.
Tim went rage and just.
I did. I got
Said something
surprised
about
and it
babies
slipped.
and stuff.
No, I didn't. It's
Oh,
not that
oh.
bad. Jeez, man.
It should have been.
It was just. It
We
was.
should have.
It was a naughty word, and I've punished myself.
It was
for
the
such
S word.
things.
He said shiny really loud. We were like, oh,
I said sandwiches.
salty particles. But awesome.
It is so good. So pretty much twin stick shooter with friendly fire for days.
Awesome amounts of friendly fire.
Yes. All right. So that it's good because it kind of leads us in, because if you've ever seen the movie Starship Troopers, this is like the game incarnation of Starship Troopers. Like it's similar in story.
The enemies are called the
enemies
same
are
thing,
called bugs. I
just
mean,
like
it's
they are in a movie. It's so
it's
good.
it's something else. So
Campier than all heck.
it is extremely campy.
Which is the best possible option.
Yes. And so pretty much
For Super Earth.
Yeah, for Super Earth. So pretty much it's this incredibly, it's just like a shooter gore fest pretty much. And it's not like Mortal Kombat gory. Like it's appropriate.
There's a little
levels
bit of blood spray.
Yeah, but there's
and stuff, but it's
appropriate
not like-
levels of gore, I think. But
I don't think there's any dismemberment though, is there? I don't think so. I don't think like when you blow up, don't you just like fall down?
well, you're
Or maybe
usually
it's like
you're
a
usually shooting
blood cloud
non-human
or something.
things. So I don't think people die. I think like break apart, but the enemies do.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. Anyway, so our first topic is, do you think that we're going to reach a point where there's too much violence in games? I mean, look at games like Manhunt or
Mortal Kombat.
things like that. Like, talking about, since we're kind of talking a little bit about violence, I figured we'd start with violence and we'd end with violence. And a UPS truck is pulling up to the house and is probably going to ring the doorbell. So just a fun heads up.
Yeah. Have you guys here? We get packages.
Yes, I like
Getting
packages.
the packages.
Yes. I've got the package.
But anyway,
Delivery secure.
So super fun game.
Yes. So the question, though, is there a point where there's too much violence in games? So, you want me to start?
I want to hear what you have to say.
I don't know. It's such a hard thing, and I know that's a really crap answer. So I'm going to try to define my stance on it. Is that I do feel like some games just take it too far, but that's kind of part of the art.
Yeah.
Because it's an expression of the brutality and craziness of their world that they've created. So, sensibly, who cares? Like, you get to a point where, yes, there's a lot of violence, but isn't that what we have ratings for, to warn you of that? Yeah. Like, we have the things where it's like excessive violence
M for a reason.
on the back and all that. So, pretty much, I guess that it's a very personal thing. Mm-hmm. For me, I guess there is a point where there's too much violence, like
Well, give me an example.
If it's too brutal, then I may have a problem. Like,
has there been a game yet that you felt was like, I can't play this? It's just too violent.
No, not particularly, but I have felt like they crossed the line with some things, like Mortal Kombat, like when they got to the later versions where it's like the full 3D and they're like ripping spines out or their hearts out and eating them and crap. Like, it gets like back when it was a 16-bit arcade game or whatever, where it was like just like little blood pixels or whatever, you're like, yeah, that's not real. And then you see this 3D rendering of
High
one
definition.
dude ripping another guy's spine out of his butt or whatever, and it's just
Right
like,
out of his
oh
sphincter,
my
man.
god, it just like the line gets crossed sometimes. But for me, so far, I haven't been to a point where I feel like I just can't play a game because of the content. So I try to find the meaning they meant behind things for the art.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we went over it in very early episodes when you first started where our video games are, and definitely. And so art is always going to be an expression of the creators. So it's not for me to say, oh, that's too much, because that would be pretty much a call for censorship. And to me, it can't. I mean, I'm not Jack Thompson. So...
Right, well, I think for me, I would have to say no.
Yeah.
Just because
You're a resounding no?
Yeah, it's none of it's real. So
No,
what does it matter how violent it is? I don't think a violent game is going to change the way I view anything else in the world.
Well, take a look at like Hotline Miami. And that game gets pretty brutal. Like, you just walk in and you're like curb stomping people. And I know it's 8-bit in that style, but it gets pretty ridiculous. I think in the second one, there's like a scene where you are doing a lady.
Doing the ladies.
Yes. And it gets, I mean, it's not like outrageously graphic because it's 8-bit. You can't really see anything, but the implication is there. And it's not like you're like, oh, hey, girl, what's up? And you guys like hook up.
Well, I think that would have to be totally a different thing, because that's pornography in games.
Yeah, but
almost,
it is violent though. It's not pornography. If you're going in and you are sexually molesting somebody, that's violent.
Wait, so is it like
it's forced?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well,
sorry if I wasn't clear.
I
That was
like,
my point. It's forced.
If it's just two people consensually getting at it, man.
No, that's what I just said.
Liking
it's
it going on.
It's not like you're like, hey, girl, and she's like, hey, guy, and you're like, blah, 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 you know?
Yeah.
That was my...
That's how 8-bit people have it.
It's the pixels. That's the noise they make. But yeah, it was forced. So, like, where is the line drawn is the question. Like, is there a line to draw? And that's where my internal struggle comes in, because my morality, and I guess if you can call, I mean, I hate that word because my personal preference is not to be exposed to that stuff, but it's reality. It's real life. We see that crap in real life. So if you don't see it in a media expressing it, some people never will realize it's there, right? Am I like losing my mind? Because like going in college, I had a course on genocides in the 20th century, and that was a tough course because they go through like the Rwandan genocide, I think it was further back, but the Armenian genocide. We went through all that stuff, the Holocaust, and it's just tough, and it really is. But I feel like I came out more knowledgeable and wiser because of it. And I feel like some of these games, I guess they call it being desensitized, but I call it just learning what it looks like, I guess. It's hard to describe, but I feel like...
As you were saying, you see that kind of violence in real life, not necessarily, punching through someone's chest and ripping their heart out, but, we are all exposed to that violence in an everyday life as it is.
There's wars going on, and there's people being massacred, and there's,
That's why I don't feel like there can be a point to where there's too much violence in the game, because the line is drawn by people individually, not as a group. Because to me, I could see like the Mortal Kombat tenfold, violent, and it still wouldn't do anything to me, because regardless to me, none of it's real.
Right.
And it doesn't affect anything. It's purely them making the game because that's what they like, and it's like a shock factor almost, which is, if that's what they are into, well, why not? That's not going to stop me from playing a game. I think what it comes down to is, they can't, I don't know what more they could really do, to make it to where people can't access it the way it is.
And we're going to get into that later in this episode. We got another one that's going to touch on that. So we'll get to that topic. But I guess that's the ultimate question is there a line? Should one be drawn? And I guess that's where politicians and these zealots and I hate to mention the name again, Jack Thompson, people like him, and there are a lot more like him that I don't want to start naming names, but Jack Thompson was a big crusader against this, and he was quite vilified about 10 years ago for wanting to ban entirely GTA from stores because of the violence and things like that. And like he crusaded against Bully and just tons of other games that came out just because it didn't agree with his morality. And so again, if you draw a line, you're infringing on somebody's right to cross it.
Yeah, it's all I think personal preference.
I tend to agree. It's such a hard topic to broach.
Some people don't have the stomach for it, and that's understandable. But that doesn't mean that the artist shouldn't be able to make the game they want, because you're squeamish,
right? And should that right to see it be taken away from all those other people that want to experience that, who need to experience that? Because in my opinion, some people need to see that.
Well,
stuff.
Plus I think that could almost be a stress relief for people.
For some people, it is.
Just to be able
escape.
to,
it's escapism, exactly. And that's a big part of gaming in general is escapism, because we use it as a form of expression, and it gives us a real chance to play out fantasies. Sometimes
be more than what you are,
right? And it's not always just playing out a fantasy though, because sometimes it's living through another character and seeing things through their eyes, like BioShock Infinite.
It's just
Assassin's Creed.
It's
storytelling.
A nice story.
It's like movies. It's like books. And I guess I'm preaching to the choir, because there's got to be, anybody listening to this is probably going to be familiar with games in general.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the tough question. And if you have an opinion on it, please feel free to send us an email, insertcointheater@gmail.com.
I'd like to know what you guys
or
think.
Post on our Facebook or Twitter or on our site at
insertcointheater.com.
If you don't mind, I mean, we would love to hear what you think, or post in the comments on YouTube. We just want to get
started.
Yeah, we just want to hear your opinion, because this is a tough topic to broach, and
between just the two of us.
The way that I look at it is, the more brains that you get involved, often you can see sides of it that you didn't see before, or you can help someone understand a different side of the argument that they didn't see. So I'm going back
to go to no for me, man.
Yeah.
Just because,
and I'm gonna have to
just art, man.
I'm gonna have to agree.
Just like nudity in art,
Yeah.
I don't think anybody should be throttled down, on what they feel like is what they.
And I tend to agree. I mean, I really truly do that we should have ways for people to identify what might be negatively affecting them for like violence and nudity, pornography, things that are graphic, so they can keep it away from kids, or if they don't have the stomach for it, to avoid it themselves.
Yeah,
I can agree with that.
I think there could never be a point. Bring the violence on. I love violence. In games. Violence in games.
Don't lie. You played all those games, and now you're just murdering everyone.
Yeah, I've been on a killing spree for the past 6 years.
Knew it.
Burying them all in your backyard.
All right, so I'm going to our tablet 1.0, which is a piece of
upgraded.
Paper. Whoa, for our
real
next topic.
Handwriting. Look at that.
Oh gosh, yeah, this is our list. I'm just too lazy to put it online. Forgive me. So
don't forgive him.
Our next one is going to be. So we're gonna change gears a bit. All right, so we're gonna talk about shooters now. So we started off with the violence talk. Let's move to shooters, and we'll come back when we've had a chance to think a little more. So, what are your feelings on friendly fire in games? I think this is a pretty good topic. It's pretty fun.
I think it's a double-edged sword. Hardcore.
After playing Helldivers, we've definitely gotten, and Rainbow Six, Vegas 2.
We've got to re-experience the fun of friendly fire. It's a double-edged sword. One, because on the good side, I feel like it makes it more of an immersive experience, because
it's realistic.
You got to actually keep track of where your teammates are at,
yep,
and where you're at in correlation to where they're at, so you're not getting your dome split open.
That's right.
But on the other hand, it's like you could always have those people that are careless and just are gonna pray and spray, and next thing you know, they wipe the whole group because they're not paying attention. I like it as I think if it's there, it should have the option to be removed.
Yep.
Just because some people aren't even going to be able to stop themselves regardlessly, and they're going to end it because it might just ruin the whole game experience.
Some people just see a target like,
exactly. They just freak out and then.
What about games like Helldivers, where that's an integral part of the game, where everything can kill you? Your own teammates, your turrets, your airdrops. I mean, everything can kill you.
Yeah, it definitely molds the experience in a certain way that can be enjoyable. But I think that could also be a heavy turnoff for some people, because like I said, your teammates can just be mowing you down, and then you can't even enjoy the game because you got Bro Chacho blasting you every 10 seconds, so you can't actually get anywhere.
I tend to agree because I prefer it where if it's not essential to the game's core mechanic, make it optional.
Yeah.
Like in Rainbow Six Vegas 2, we can turn it off if we want, but we play it that way because we like to take responsibility if we execute each other. And we like to know who to blame. But some people truly just hate it, and that's absolutely fine. I mean, I think in like Destiny there's no friendly fire.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So it's definitely something that should be optional or totally removed.
Like I said, it can really affect a game.
In online random public matches, I don't think there should be friendly fire unless, of course, it's for the core game mechanic, in my opinion. Like
with Helldivers, I think it actually works pretty well. Because for the most part, you can...
Well, it's part of the strategy.
But I mean,
it's a big part of the strategy to try to avoid blasting and glacking your friends.
Exactly.
So
it changes the flow. Which for like a game like Helldivers, I think it works.
Right.
But there's a lot of games that I think could really be negatively affected by a mechanic like that. That's why I think it should be
Halo. I mean, that's a big one because like you get rockets and you just start blasting anything that moves.
Yeah, next thing you know,
you just negative 4 kills or whatever. So yeah, I've been there. So I agree, but only if it's not a requirement for the core mechanic.
Because I don't know if Helldivers would be as good without it.
Right.
Because, like I said, you can definitely, the effort to change and actually not kill your teammates, you can pretty much do that, without too much trouble. But their accidents still can happen. You still can have a person, drop a pod, and next thing you know, wipe half the team. Like, I joined a group online just like, it might have been today or yesterday.
In Helldivers, right?
Yeah, in Helldivers. Joined a group of random people, so I'm, picking my stratagems and stuff. And when I go in, my pod drops, wipes the entire team, kills all 3 of them. And I'm just standing there by myself.
You landed on the entire team?
Crushed the entire team.
Doesn't it give you an indicator where it's going to drop, though?
Yeah, it'll say held pod coming in, and there's like a shadow. But I don't know what they were doing. They were all like crouched, I guess, maybe like trying to call in stratagems or something. And I just hit that ground and wiped them all. And I just come out of my pod standing there with my gun. Hey, guy!
But is that, I mean... That again, I would have to say, as part of the core mechanics, it's kind of their fault for not moving.
Yeah, no, definitely. I can't change the fact that I felt bad because I just wiped the whole group without even having even to have a chance to redeem myself. I just wiped the whole group, so I just bailed right away after they were all dead. I'm like, well, kind of screwed these guys over. See ya,
guys.
Because they're gonna be like, no matter what, they're gonna be mad.
Well, you would potentially just rob them of a 3rd star.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, sorry guys, but I'm gonna leave on this note. See you later. Good luck trying to beat this.
Nice to meet you. Bye.
Yeah, but
Good
I just
luck.
felt terrible, but I like that.
Right.
Not the fact that I killed them all, but I mean like
that the ability is there.
Yeah, that if you don't pay attention, it really
mechanic.
Makes it a difference. You can get killed by things like that.
So that's what I think, anyways. Is that it should, if it's part of the core mechanic and it's like it's what makes the game interesting, definitely. But for games like Halo, Rainbow Six, it should be optional for those who want the more hardcore. Yeah. Like in what is it? Call of Duty, I think.
Yeah,
they have the
realistic.
They have the realistic mode where everything's like one hit kill and there's friendly fire and all that stuff. I think that's pretty. That's like that game mode is designed for that.
Yeah,
like they designed it to be
that going in.
Right. Whereas I just feel like everything else should be, unless you're doing like a private or a custom match,
Should be optional.
It should be totally optional. Totally
Yeah, I
off.
agree. I'm not against it, but I'm not fully for it either.
Right.
It just depends on the game. Really.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
Because you could easily break an entire game just from. What was going on there?
My microphone is possessed.
It's
like
just like
it's like
so
getting
sad.
all lonely and sad and stuff.
just droopy.
It's all droopy. It's like, I'm gonna take a nap.
But so yeah, I think it can definitely add some fun facts to the game. Some fun elements. But like I said, it can also really mess up a game hard.
Oh yeah, I agree there for sure. Can make a game really suck.
Yeah. Jesus. But Helldivers is so much fun.
Oh yeah,
you guys,
good
if
game.
Anybody
and
hasn't
that's not
played it,
we are not paid to say so. We just love the game. It's really good.
I wish we were paid.
Yeah,
please, free Helldivers. I would have
yeah.
liked that a lot.
Send us some cool stuff.
Yeah. But I think if you're looking for a twin stick shooter,
especially a
play with your
co-op game,
buddies.
finally
Yeah, exactly.
a good co-op game
with great game mechanics,
good graphics too. It's very
looks
pretty.
Great.
Yeah,
a lot of different things you can choose from, and the mechanic of how you call down stratagems.
Oh yeah,
and hack objects is really awesome.
Oh yeah, it's really
just
tactical.
overall really
you got to
great
really
game.
work with people. With
Yeah,
your
and
friends.
you could really. There's no. Let me say this. There's no real campaign per se.
Well, the overall goal of the game
Is just to
is
protect Super Earth.
Right, you're protecting Super Earth by declaring war on different
Regions,
factions.
yeah.
There's like 3 different factions. There's the bugs, there's the Illumits, and there's something else I can't remember.
They're cyborgs. I believe
Yeah,
they're called.
and so what you have to do is, as a community, as everybody playing the game, you work to take sectors and fight to their homeworld, and then once you get to the homeworld, you declare war on their homeworld and kill everything on the homeworld and take it over.
Yeah,
and then once you take that,
safe for a little while.
yeah, that area is safe until the next war, and then it resets.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty cool.
And if there's not enough people to defend the regions, the enemy can actually push you back closer to Super Earth to where they'll eventually attack Super Earth.
Right.
So, there's actually bad things can happen if people aren't playing,
Right.
Which I think is cool. So it's not just we're always just attacking and we're
right.
It's
it really no it adds
negative
a
effect.
It adds
if you're
a
not
sense
playing.
of urgency.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's actually a timer as well. You know, on some of those, there's
it's
like
pretty cool.
25 days or something, and it's not it. We've since I've been playing, I've seen us lose a couple.
Really?
Before, and the regions get pushed back, and then you have to, fight more. But overall, just really fun game.
Nice. Yeah, it is a good game. I like it too.
We need to play massive amounts of it.
All right, so let's go to a song.
Yay!
So our buddy Josh Zimmerman, who was so gracious to join us on our show a few weeks back.
Shout out to Josh again, man.
Yes,
Thank you. That was awesome.
He has so nicely
graciously
let us use a new song,
from his new album,
which is totally released
Wicked.
now. It's called "I Guess We're Friends Now."
That's how we feel about
Yes.
it. I guess we're friends now, Josh, right?
So,
I think.
so this song is called "Just Like One of My Japanese Animes," right? And it's really cool. And we picked it because it has a real Anamanaguchi, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World feel. So we really liked that. We really dug that. And we felt like it really fit.
An awesome feel like that.
Like a nice urban environment, arcade, rock,
fighter,
beat type
punching
thing.
stuff.
Yeah, I like punching things. It's fun. So he was awesome enough to let us use his song. And thank you so much, Josh.
We love you, Josh.
Yes. And his album is out now. You can find it on his Bandcamp, Josh Zimmerman 1.
Buy it all.
.bandcamp.com. And
we'll have you did the head
bandcamp.com. Bandcamp. Okay, sorry.
Beautiful.
Yes. So check him out, Josh Zimmerman 1.bandcamp.com. The link will be on the YouTube video for this, as well as the site and on the Facebook and everything. So much social media, man. Anyways,
all of the media.
So Josh, thank you so much. This song is just like one of my Japanese animes.
Uncia.
that was just like one of my Japanese animes by Josh Zimmerman.
I really felt like it was one of my Japanese animes.
Did you?
No, I'm lying.
You don't even watch anime.
I know. I'm a terrible human
check him
being.
out, joshzimmerman1.bandcamp.com. The album is I Guess We're Friends Now.
I really love that song.
What?
So, the song that we just played.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
Who are you?
my life.
Where is Tim?
Dude, it's been a long day.
This is shenanigans, bro.
Welcome to my life.
Welcome to Insert
So,
Tim's
Josh,
Theater.
thank you so much. That song is
Thanks,
awesome.
man.
It really is good, and it's quite enjoyable.
Great work, as always.
As always. And go buy his album because
Super talented.
it's sweet. So
Sweet like sugar.
Or like agave nectar. Have you ever had agave nectar?
No.
Apparently
People
it's
put
like
it in tea.
it's uber sweet, and it's not bad for you, apparently. It's
I'm
vegan,
totally,
bro.
I'm totally for all the bad things for me.
It doesn't have like ground up sugar crystallized babies or anything in them.
Crystallized sugar babies? Oh my God! Where
Pretty
do they
much.
sell that at?
That's a good question.
That's got to be at the Asian market.
All right, so
Crystallized sugar.
here is our next topic.
Oh my gosh!
Is that
In case you guys are
macaroni
wondering,
sound?
this is what it sounds like stirring macaroni. I've been training in the macaroni stirring competition for years.
That's good content right there.
That's
Print it.
grade A.
We're done.
Grade A.
We don't need any more discussion. We are
Nope.
done. Macaroni stirring.
You know, I'm going to have to start doing that every time somebody's talking, but so quietly that no one can tell until some person's like, were you guys making macaroni? Yes. Yes, we were.
Oh, man.
Someone's saying, that's how we need to do the sound tests now. And then you'll be able to know from that on point on.
We're done.
Anyway, topics, go.
What?
Engage.
I like how you're the one trying to get us back on track when you derailed us. Thanks, man.
I'm trying to grab this train and bring it back.
So
It's morphin' time.
Tyrannosaurus. I don't know. Anyway, so
Donkey mule.
Donkey Mule.
Aren't they the same thing?
Yeah, I think they are.
See? I just blew your mind. Morphin' time. Let's get on to... You're distracting me.
I'm
Where is
distracting
our
you.
info?
I will murder you. What do military first-person shooters need? Stop that. What do military first-person shooters need to refresh?
New games.
All right, now we're done. Thank
Next
you.
topic, macaroni. No,
Make new games.
yeah,
Next
exactly.
topic.
Make the games better.
Make them
No,
better.
I
Stop
think-
sucking.
Stop making them the same pretty much story over and over again. Like it's the same. World's gonna end. We
Super
have to
gruff
save
hero.
the world because with our bearded gentlemen.
Yeah, and it's
You know,
like
it's just-
always bearded.
Yeah, it's just the same story over and over again. It feels like it's just copy paste the same storyline.
But this one is world, modern military shooter guy, but in the future.
not the same story. Please make a different story.
I agree. They need to focus.
I'm tired of military. Let's get out of the
modern military.
Yeah, let's get out
Okay.
of modern
Specify
military.
modern.
Yeah.
I also am tired of near future military. Modern and near future.
Yeah.
I'm sick of it. I don't want advanced warfare. I don't want modern warfare. I want either outrageously futuristic, like PlanetSide 2 futuristic,
Yeah.
or I want let's go back to the past a bit.
World War II.
World War II, bring those back. Now, I'm not saying do it like they did before because they were getting old back then.
Yeah.
But
Revamp it.
come back and try. Like World at War, Call of Duty World at War was really, really good. It was really good. I really enjoyed that.
It's on our list, top X.
Yeah, so why
good.
in the world did they stop with that? It's like it was right for the picking. That was the only World War II shooter, besides Sniper Elite, which doesn't really count because it's not.
Yeah, it's too slow.
I don't
paced.
consider it.
Just,
It's a different pacing. It's a totally different kind of game, right?
Mhm.
But they could have cornered the friggin' market on this, and they just missed it. I know that there are some lesser known World War II shooters that came out. There's Red Orchestra 2, which I think is a little older. But there's Heroes and Generals, which is kind of like a strategy mixed with a shooter. But I'm talking either a fast-paced shooter like World at War, Call of Duty, or a big, massive one like Battlefield, 1942.
Yeah.
Vehicles.
I'm just get us something original, man. I'm tired of the same cookie cutter, same old.
Or
all they do is just now it's the future. It's gonna be the exact same game, but now they'll have actual shorts
and lasers.
No, it's the same game over and over again. Just I feel like reskinned. That's just all it is. And just give me something unique and out of the ordinary.
That's kind of what. That's kind of like where we're at with the. I guess we could call it the Call of Duty effect. Where it's like it's a yearly now. They come out with a new one every freaking year. And it's no
different than the last. It just maybe they just add little bit of stuff to make it seem like it's new. No.
Now, to be fair, I heard that Advanced Warfare is a solid game, but it's not that different from Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 3, or Black Ops 2.
I'm not saying that the games aren't good. Their mechanics aren't good, and they don't play well. It's just the same game.
I agree.
It's the same. Of course, it's going to play good because it's the same game. It plays the same. I want new ideas, fresh, not the same cookie cutter. World's ending. We got to save the world.
It's not even necessary to come up with like new guns or anything.
No, I want
come up with some new mechanics. Come up with a new story,
new environments.
Even if you're embellishing, like Wolfenstein, I guess, would be one of the more recent ones. But I heard that was kind of just meh. I didn't hear that was that great anyways. It's like, blow us away with a good story for once.
Yeah.
Really, like, kill it. Send it home.
I'm so tired of the same.
Another era that they could visit is Vietnam. They haven't visited that a whole lot, and that was rife with stories and craziness.
Yeah, or even like you said, I would like a super... Like, if it's going to be futuristic, I want way past us being on Earth futuristic.
Yes.
We don't have to be the same, because it's more futuristic, but it's still your basic military shooter. It's not any different than the last 7 versions, I'm just tired of it. I'm tired. Give me something unique.
I'm right with you.
Doesn't have to be the same old.
Yeah, because like with Halo 5 coming up, again, that is so far removed from the Call of Duty Battlefield type games that it looks fresh and exciting. I mean, it's still in the Halo universe, and they're revamping a lot of maps, which is a little disappointing and kind of good because I do like to see older maps, but I get tired of them. Like, they do like 8 maps and then like 4 of them
it almost just feels
rehashes.
Like they just didn't feel like making new maps.
Which
like, we're bringing back.
I don't know for sure if that's how Halo 5 is going to be, but
Zanzibar,
yeah. And but I don't know if that's how it's going to be. But I get a little tired of this mentality. Like, if you're going to do the old maps, do one big bundle of all the old maps,
and that be separate,
and that be a separate thing, or do a separate multiplayer standalone or something like they did with Halo. What was it, Anniversary Edition?
Or release the old maps as DLC that you can choose to get on your own.
That's what I'm saying. Like, get a big old map pack of just all the old maps, and then just bundle those every single iteration.
Yeah.
Who cares if they look amazing? Like, just bring them up to the newest engine and have people duke it out on there. I mean,
I don't want half the maps that you're supposed to get for the new game to be all old maps.
And so I just feel like first-person shooters, military first-person shooters, need to step back and reevaluate. They need to skip a year of Call of Duty. They need to skip a year of Battlefield because that's becoming yearly.
And actually make it something that we could...
I'm so glad I didn't buy Hardline. All I've seen is just glitches and crap. It just it is not looked good.
The beta wasn't even attractive at all to me.
Oh, it wasn't fun. I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I didn't enjoy it at all. And there are people that like it, and I'm not saying that it's a bad game, but for people that are like me, it's not worth the $60.
Yeah.
Considering the fact that it's the Battlefield 4 engine reskinned with cops and robbers and some really boring looking game modes.
Yeah, the game modes aren't even anything like that makes it worth being a cop.
It's like
no
grab money from the center and bring it to your base, grab money from the cops. That's pretty much it. Those are the new game types. And then there's the destruction, which is the demolition or whatever it is, where you got to plant the bombs and blow up the points and things. Just I'm so disappointed.
It's the same
and then
as
you're driving
last
around
16 Battlefield.
You're driving around in like sedans and stuff. It's like, oh, come on, guys! Like, do something fresh. Battlefield 2142 was sweet. Go back to that.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you doing? You guys
imagine like a super futuristic. I mean, like not Advanced Warfare, but
like
I'm like
super
Battlefield, but like
mechs.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? That's 2142, man. They had mechs.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. It was amazing. It was a great game, and just they never did anything with it. It was fun. It was a great game.
There's just please don't make the exact same game over again and say,
oh yeah,
add a new title. It's Quantum Leap, Call of Duty Omega Force.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, come on, give me something new. I don't mind if the name stays the same, but just make it something better than what it. Actually, take the time to make it a whole new experience.
Oh yeah, I agree.
And then I'm all about
Make it feel new.
Yeah.
That's what I miss. Is like every time you pick up a Call of Duty game, you're like, well, I've played this before.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know if that's if. I think that might be what they want, So
it obviously is because
selling.
That's I know. That's what people are buying, and I think part of it has to do with the MLG culture built up around these competitive shooters, and I personally think it makes for toxic communities, and it makes those kids go, "Oh, I'm the best. Your mom, me." That drives me nuts, and that. It's these bro shooters is what they're called, what I call them, bro shooters, where you've got the bro guys that just sit there and play these shooters, and that's it. That's all they get into is these shooters, and that's all they play. They dedicate all their time to it, and then you get the 13-year-olds who literally they get home from school, and their mom is like, go play your game and let it babysit you for the next 5 hours, and they just get amazing at these games, and they're up all night playing, and people with a 7 to 4, 9 to 5, 8 to 5, 9 to 5 job, whatever, they kind of get shafted, and it makes it a not enjoyable. And I'm not saying just for me, but I'm saying like it breeds this toxicity because everybody that's really good at Modern Warfare 2 is good at Advanced Warfare.
Yeah, it's
because
just
it's the same friggin' game.
Exactly. The mechanics are the same.
The mechanics are
work
identical.
the same.
Like they might tweak weapons a bit because the weapons are different fundamentally, but it's not even that interesting.
That's what I mean. It's just cookie cutter. They just mass produce the same game over. Let's just put a new skin on it, new skin on it. And it's
then
just
let's market it as something completely different.
It gets boring.
The kids will buy into it.
Yep, and they do.
Like it's
they
the
buy
next thing.
Millions of them.
Next to sliced bread.
But I feel like it's just dying out.
Yeah,
I feel bad because when they were first around, they were good games.
Well, you had like Doom, and you had Quake, and you had Unreal Tournament. I mean, and Wolfenstein.
It was a rich market. It was
there were so many good IPs, and now they're just driving them into the ground.
Yeah, and it's just there's
so
just
sad.
the two. It's just what is it? Just pretty much Call of Duty and Battlefield. That's it.
Well, and then Halo's not yearly, which is thank God, but I mean they're becoming the next Madden.
Yeah,
they really are. They're doing the same stuff that Madden does, and it's disgusting, actually. It disgusts me a bit. Like, I don't care what they do with Madden because that's why people buy it every year because you get the new players, you get the team rosters, the stats change. With these, it's like...
The stats don't change. It's just the same exact thing every year.
It's frustrating. It's so frustrating.
At least Madden's got a reason for it to be every year because... Players play differently each year, and then they actually play differently in the game because their stats are different. Call of Duty is the same game every year because people buy the same game every year.
Look at the difference between like Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 2. There's really not that much different. I mean, they're different eras, right? I think Black Ops 2 takes place around the Vietnam era. I could be wrong. I haven't played Black Ops 2, but I've watched gameplay of it and the multiplayer and stuff. And if you put them side by side, you'd be like, This
is the jungle version of Call of Duty.
Exactly.
It's a jungle level.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, it's ridiculous. You can put them side by side, and there's just no freaking difference.
And that's just what I'm tired of. So let's get down right to it then. What do you personally think they could do to revitalize how you feel about those style of games?
For me, go back to older eras and start from there.
Okay, so you want to actually go back to like World War II and stuff.
I'd like to see a World War I game. I'd like to see like they have what is it, Chivalry, the game. It's actually like knights. So you have like crossbows, but they take forever to reload, and then everyone has like swords and run and slash each other, stuff like that. Do that in a AAA title. Don't do it in like an indie title.
Drop that kind of money on to
make a solid game from the medieval times. Make a solid game from, pirate times. Make an interesting like sea-based shooter. Come up with some interesting new ideas. There's so much to explore that
we just got to make sure we're staying in the first-person shooter realm.
Yes,
because with the with a pirate game, I don't know how well that would work as a
Who
first-person
knows?
shooter.
I mean, with Heroes and Generals, which I guess technically counts as a first-person shooter mixed with an RTS, you could have somebody controlling the ship in first person while other people charge. Something like that. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a game developer.
Yeah,
but,
no, I'm just trying to clarify.
I mean, thoughts-wise, I think that there's so much untapped history that we haven't even looked at. And I feel like historically based games, even if they're not super accurate, get people interested in those time periods, which gets them to go learn. And I like that. I like learning, and I like being interested. So, like, in Chivalry, you know, go stab each other with swords and stuff, and then you go look up what armors there were in the 15th century and, you know, what knights did in the 14th century and crap like that. It's cool.
So for you, it would be revitalizing if they just went back and made games based more on not, cut from the history, but from different older eras. That would bring
as a starting point, yes. Get back to basics. Figure out what works. You know, make that medieval game that's only melee weapons. Make that, World War I game that's, just rifles and machine, like the old machine guns and the hand grenades and like mustard gas. Make a challenging, interesting title around this stuff.
Yeah, for me, I would have to actually go opposite, and I would say way more into the future, way more sci-fi, style of first-person shooter. Not still just the same old, military. Okay, it's still basically the military. We're just fighting, saving the world from whatever, some dude trying to kill people. I'm talking about full-on spaceships and stuff like that, and still as a first-person shooter.
So kind of like Battlefront's going to be a little bit the new Star Wars Battlefront.
Yeah, like that. That would definitely revitalize.
Yeah,
which I'm excited for.
Which
that
I'm hoping that will help. But
you
I see your point, because rather than just focusing on like a galaxy far, far away type thing, we focus on our galaxy and make it relate more to us now. So it's like kind of like Star Trek. This could be us in 100 years, 200 years, 300
and just make
years.
it something more unique.
Yeah,
like
I
would
agree.
love to just be on a starship and retaking it over because.
So I guess we're kind of arguing the same point, but on opposite sides, different eras
of time. Yeah.
So get back to basics, but visit something that's not modern.
Yeah, that's
get away from the modern.
6 years from now, what our technology will be.
Don't get us wrong. We know that there are indie developers that are covering a lot of these eras. They're not included in this. We're talking mainly the AAAs,
like
the big studios that do
dropping
yearly,
the same Call of Duty.
Right. That's our focus. Yeah. So let's not get that mixed up for our listeners.
We love you, indies.
Yes, the indie games I feel like are always pushing the envelope, and they are always helping AAAs to realize what
fresh. And
I know, I love it. Like games like 7 Days to Die,
Helldivers.
What else is there? Like Minecraft even was an indie game for. I mean, it's now owned by a AAA company, so I guess I don't know if that really counts.
Well, it was when it was
true. I mean, just there's so many. There's so many game companies out there that are doing these indie games, and they're pushing things the way that they need to go. Games like Cities Skylines, which I know that they're published by a big publisher, but I think that they're still not super big. The Colossal Order.
Yeah.
I don't.
So I think basically what we're saying is take the mold that you have, smash it into 1,000,000 pieces, burn it in HE double hockey sticks. And make something new. Stop making the same freaking game over
I agree.
and over again. Because you'll bring me right back.
Yeah.
I
want to come back. I want to see something fresh.
I just can't play
like
that
Titanfall
same
was pretty cool.
Times. Yeah.
Except it was multiplayer only. So that was the downside. But Titanfall's a step in the right direction, I think.
Yeah, I think that that's definitely a step in the right direction. Still had, that military stuff, but there was enough to it to where it actually still felt like it was new and fresh, and it wasn't the same old cookie cutter,
right?
Because with the jump jets, and then mechs is always
always
plus.
Welcome. Yeah.
Just like in Helldivers, the mechs are awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Much simpler, but they are still awesome.
For sure.
Makes a huge difference. But yeah, so just come on, guys. When Call of Duty and all that was first around, it was awesome. I loved it, but it's just once I've played the same Call of Duty game 700 times, I'm not going to drop that $60 on the exact same game I've played, and just be the same thing over and over and over again. I'm bored with it.
Me too.
So.
All right, so final topic. This is the big one. This is the big one. All right, so we're coming back to violence in games. Yeah, so this part is going to be... I saved this for last because I figured this kind of tied into our first topic, and this will really round up the show, I think.
Yeah.
So the question is, what can be done or is being done to keep violent or mature games from kids? Should there be a V-chip, but for game ratings? And a V-chip is when you're watching TV, it's a setting that parent can set and password protect on their TV. The TV detects for, in the top left, I think, or top right, they put the rating for the show, and if it's outside of the rating that they allow, then it changes the channel or shuts off the TV, something like that. Mm-hmm. So a kid can't watch Game of Thrones or whatever based on the rating, requirements placed on the TV. So should there be some kind of a V chip for that, or what can we do? Also, I guess that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
But it's such a big chunk to bite off in the first place. Mm-hmm. And I'll go ahead and start. So I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna be on the side of retailers' enforcement. Mm-hmm. Okay, so a lot of retailers right now, when a kid goes up to buy a game, if it's M, they say, do you have ID? Can we buy this? But there's still a lot of people that don't even bother to check. And you could go to any, I know it's policy for GameStop, but even if you go to GameStop, sometimes they don't even bother with kids. Yeah. I've seen it before. Or, they don't do their due diligence and say there's an adult with them and they're buying the game. They don't say, hey, that game has a lot of mature content in it. Maybe you shouldn't pick that up. Mm-hmm. And that sort of thing happens at like Walmart and Best Buy. Everywhere. Yeah. It just happens. It's not. And I think there are some laws on the books, maybe, that restricts that in the same way that movies are restricted, but it's only in certain states. It's not like a nationwide thing.
Yeah.
So pretty much, I guess, I feel like there needs to be more enforcement from the stores to be able to keep these things out of their hands. Now, it's not completely what I believe. It is part of what I believe, but you're gonna voice my opinion here in a minute, like the rest of my opinion. But I feel like it needs to be in tandem with your opinion, because I already know your opinion on this. You're bottled up, ready to burst. I see it. So, and I am of the mind that it should not be on the game studios. The ESRB does its job rating the games. It is not on the game studios to restrict their content for kids. Period. Ever. Yeah. It's art. Art is not to be censored just because. Think of the children.
Yeah.
Oh, think of my poor upbringing. I'm just so sensitive. You can't be putting that hooker killing in my GTA.
Crazy hookers.
Yeah. It's art. Let them build their piece of work and do what they want. It's not on you to police it. Yeah. That's my stance. Mm-hmm. So I think that in terms of enforcement of keeping it out of kids' hands, that's important. It's extremely important because there are some things kids are not ready for. A 7-year-old is not ready for GTA.
Yeah.
The amount of cursing, the amount of shooting, the amount of horrible crap, nudity, including there's like torture scenes. It's crazy. And that stuff got me a little squeamish. Mm-hmm. That stuff it does get crazy. So there are parts in that game that kids are not ready for, in my opinion. Now, you go, because you're going to voice my opinion, I think, the rest of the way. But I wanted to make it clear that I do not think that it should be on game developers. I'm not even going to play devil's advocate on that because there's no valid argument to restrict what game companies put into their games, period. Yeah. There's no valid argument. You can't say, oh, well, they should think of the kids. No, they shouldn't. They should think about their art and doing a good job because we have enough crappy games out there. Yeah. We don't have to freaking deal with Hello Kitty Island Adventure 56 times. Yeah. I want my BioShock Infinite. I want my GTA 5. I want to be able to experience what I want to experience when they release it, how they see it.
Yeah.
Off my soapbox. Drop the mic. All right, now you voice yours.
Well, even with how you were saying it's store policy for like GameStop and stuff like that, how much can they really be responsible for having to tell? Like, don't get me wrong, I think it's a good idea for them to be like, this is a M game, it's got a lot of violence, but at some point you're going to be encroaching on the customer themselves, because they're the ones making that decision. I don't think it should all rely heavily on the store to be, making sure, hey, your kid shouldn't play this game, because that's not really their job and their place to say what they think a kid should play, because that's up to the parents, I personally believe.
Okay.
Like I said, I think it's a good idea for them to at least be like, you realize it's rated M, but...
Well, and to me, they have to ID kids.
Yeah,
and if they're
definitely
under 17, they don't get M games.
Yeah, that's
if they're
for
under
sure.
15, they don't get T games, or if they're under 13, they don't get T games.
But it's the parents' responsibility. How much blame can we possibly put on someone else when it's the parents who, in the end, buy that game for their child, regardless of what it's rated?
Thank you. That is exactly right. That is exactly how I feel.
Regardless of whether they say or not, it's still going to be the parents.
I think that it should be joint, but you can't expect the game seller to go chasing the parent out the door and say, you can't buy that for your kid.
No.
The buck stops at the parent to sales interaction. End of that. Then
Exactly.
there is no contract that says they have to protect your children. There's no contract that says that they are responsible if your kid gets scarred for life or goes on a murderous rampage in a high school somewhere. That ain't on the store. That ain't on the game company. That's on you as a parent for not paying attention to your kid.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a kid should not be playing Grand Theft Auto. That's a given.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't think there should be. There's already enough out there. It is very simple to flip a game, see that it's rated M, and it doesn't even say it on the front now, too, I think.
Yeah, on the game,
right
on the
front,
label.
Right on the label, clearly M. There's no doubt about it.
So it says M on this copy of the Order 1886 that I have in my hand right now. Right on the disc.
Yep.
M.
Right. There's just
you look at the back, it gives you the descriptor: blood and gore, intense violence, nudity, sexual content, strong language.
And even
it's
on the
right
front,
there,
even on the front,
it says a big M right on the front of the case.
How much more do they possibly need to do?
Besides just giving that generic warning, hey, this game is not intended for kids.
Yeah. There's rated M. It's supposed to be 17 and up. The end. That's what they. I think that's good for them.
I think it should be a policy. In my opinion, it should be a policy that they do that, and that should absolve them of any liability.
Yeah.
Period. They say, hey, you shouldn't buy that for your kid. I don't know if you're buying that for your kid. You may be buying, Pokemon Ruby for your kid, and you're buying the Order 1886. But just letting you know, that's not for kids.
Yeah.
It's my job to remind you. Now, I can imagine people that are in GameStop would be like, well, no, duh. Of course it's not for kids. It's rated M. I know all about it. But guys, don't get offended if somebody is trying to do their due diligence to keep games out of M games out of kids' hands, because I don't think
that's not making you less of a person for them asking you that.
Yeah, they're not belittling you. They're not attacking you. They're just doing their job. They just want to make sure, because I'm not one to think that games cause violence. And actually, the Supreme Court of the U.S. just recently upheld that games do not have any causation with violence or abuse or any of that stuff. There is absolutely no there's no connection between violence, abuse, and video games.
Yeah.
Period. Supreme Court of the U.S. said that. If you disagree, go to another country and argue it, because they just laid down the law, baby.
Exactly.
That's the Supreme Court. So I gotta say that it's BS. There is no links between games and violence. Even if kids get a hold of these games, yes, it may traumatize them, but no, it's not going to make them go shoot up a school. I'm sorry. It's not a training simulator. If it was a training simulator, it would have a real gun that has real feedback and is pretty much identical to a regular gun. Because
base or
let me tell you, shooting a real gun compared to shooting a controller like a video game gun, no comparison. There is
Not
recoil
even
out the
remotely.
badonkadonk.
Yep.
I can, dude. Dude, I game all the time. I can barely hold a pistol straight when it's firing. I'm not talking like a little baby one though. I'm talking like a 9.
Beretta 9.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know anything about guns.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm not a gun guy. I mean, I'm just not. It's just not my nature. But I do have a lot of friends that have guns, and I've been out shooting with them. And I've shot AR-15s, and I've shot a Moss and Nagant, and I've shot a lot of guns.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you that their recoil is ridiculous. And a kid is not going to know how to shoot a gun properly just by playing a game.
Mm-hmm.
There is no game, except maybe America's Army, and I don't even think it does that, where it says, this is how you hold a gun. Prepare for ridiculous recoil. All right, now aim for the head every time.
Center
mass, aim for their chest, and you're more likely to kill them. And if they're a kid, aim. It doesn't. That's not how it works. And anybody who argues against that is a moron, a class A moron.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I'm heated. I get mad about this subject because anybody that tells me, oh well, they play. Anytime I hear on the news when there's a shooting and they're like, oh yeah, they play video games.
They played Modern Warfare. Every
good for them.
Of
They're one of 400 million people in the world who play freaking video games. Good for them.
And hasn't killed somebody.
Yeah. How many people haven't ever killed someone?
Yeah.
How many people have killed someone as a soldier but haven't killed civilians just for fun?
Exactly. It's
Seriously, they're
frustrating.
Games are not the cause. And I'm preaching to the choir. We're on a games discussion show talking about video games, probably to an audience of video game people who are probably like, preach it, sister. But it makes me so mad because I mentioned Jack Thompson for 3 times in this show, right? That guy is the worst when it comes to this sort of thing.
He's the devil.
No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to demonize somebody, but I am going to say he's absolutely incorrect, and the Supreme Court just proved him wrong. So all that crusading you did, Mr. Thompson, out the door. See you, buddy.
Bye, Felicia.
Hope you like being disbarred. Boosh. Anyways, so that is all I have to say. Do you have anything to add? I'm sorry.
That was perfect, man. I couldn't have said it better myself.
I just get going.
It's just ridiculous.
It's
so
crazy. It's crazy, and it's funny. I don't have cable anymore, but at work, whenever a tragedy happens, which is bad, the first thing they do when there's a shooting is they talk about if they played games or not. And it's so unfair.
Frustrating.
It's so unfair.
That's their go-to. That's their scapegoat.
It is. And it's like, did you look to see if he has mental issues? Does the guy maybe he really didn't like those people?
Yeah.
I don't know. But you can't jump to games every time because
that's just the easiest thing for them to do.
It's never been proven in all of the shootings that's even related.
Remotely.
The worst of it, I think, was when Columbine happened. Mm-hmm. And they were blaming Doom on that, because one of the shooters built Doom maps. Mm-hmm. So apparently that makes you instantly know how to shoot guns, even though they had been hoarding and stockpiling guns and practicing to shoot them in the woods. But it's video games' fault.
Yeah,
are you freaking kidding me?
If that were the case, I would be a mass serial killer by
now. No
now.
joke. I would have killed half the population of the U.S. by now.
There's just no link. There's just zero.
There can't be.
Since that argument's been stated, it drives me insane.
I'm not one to say that when you're playing a game you can get aggressive, because I get mad sometimes. But that's because I want to play better.
Yeah,
that's not got anything to do with me wanting to go shoot up a school. It's got a lot with me wanting to go and punch my computer and get better at the game and get my frustrations out. Because for me, gaming is stress relief.
Yeah, it's definitely.
I get stressed out when I'm bad at games, and so I stop playing said games. But gaming is stress relief for me. I use it as that form of escape. It's escapism, as we had talked about before. Yeah. So you can use it as a fantasy, as a power trip to relieve stress. It is not a murder simulator.
Yeah, it's not death training. It's
no,
not murder training.
There are like 15-year-old girls in the U.S. joining ISIS right now. That's a murder training camp.
Yeah, exactly. Video games are not ISIS, people.
Thank you. That is what we have come to for this show. Video games are not ISIS. That's going on the thumbnail for YouTube.
Video games do not create ISIS.
Insert coin theater out.
Let me throw my mic down.
Okay, so let me bring it down. Woo.
Channel your chives.
I'm sorry. I need to go play some games now.
I need to go play extremely violent games.
I need to go simulate some murder. All right.
Jesus. But yeah, so
I think that
man, get out of here with that madness.
So thank you, Supreme Court, for doing what you guys
doing what
have known
we've been saying for years.
Ever since the first instance of someone saying video games are the cause,
yeah.
I've been like,
nope.
No.
Shut it down.
No way. There is no way. I mean,
yeah.
I can understand the argument that if you've got a mental condition, you may like act it out. But you've got a mental condition. Why was this not under wraps in the first place? You can't blame games.
That's already right there. Games didn't give them that mental condition.
That's right.
That's what I've been telling everybody for years is that
our failing health system.
Someone who's going to kill somebody is born with that
they're gonna do
there.
It. They're gonna
nothing
do it.
is going to make a difference to doing that. They're going to do it regardless of whether they play
environmental.
Games or not. Yeah.
It's based on how you came up, what you've been through.
I think it could even be DNA even.
It could be.
You know,
I mean, because in some cases,
some mental issues running in the
I
family.
believe Down syndrome is a DNA deformity or something like that. A genetic
extra
deformity.
chromosome, I believe it is.
An extra chromosome. Thank you. And so things like that. And I'm not saying people with Down syndrome are murderers. I'm not saying that at all. Don't get me wrong. My point is that there's a lot we don't know about the human genome and genetics in general. I mean, we're learning a lot, and there's still so much to learn. And who knows? Maybe we'll be able to identify what makes someone a killer someday.
Yeah, but
maybe we'll be able to identify
I think
that sort of
seed's
stuff.
already there from the beginning, and games aren't
going to
put that there.
And I mean, it can also be environmental, though. I mean, if you're abused when you're a kid, I mean, I think John Wayne Gacy was one of those that he was like verbally and physically abused by his dad, and like it just made him crazy because he could never be what his dad wanted.
Yeah, but I still think even with that situation that it's still gonna, that seed's still already there regardless, because look, my mom, all the stuff she went through when she was a kid, you know, back then spanking was all kinds.
Yeah,
that was
true.
She would get hit with pots in the head and stuff, and like.
You've
seen my mom. Anyone. She's not going to murder a pebble on the ground.
She is one of the nicest people ever.
I think that seed, it's all in here.
Yeah.
I think it's just you're born with it, and it's there, and it's going to come out.
There may be triggers.
Yeah, exactly.
There may be things that you misinterpret or you take too far.
But games aren't going to make you kill somebody.
I'm gonna have to agree.
It's just
agreed.
Stupid.
Suck it. So that's going to wrap us up.
Wrap it up.
No joke. If you have anything to add to this discussion, please send us an email. InsertCoinTheater@gmail.com. We'll mention it next episode. Take it to the YouTube comments. We
shout it at the rooftops.
We're approving everything except for outright hateful stuff, which we might actually accept and just laugh at.
Yep. And then delete.
You can hit us up on Facebook, on Twitter, on our website. You can send messages. Just please.
Talk to us.
Let
us know how you feel.
Talk to me.
We love feedback, for gosh sake.
We do.
Give it to us.
So go ahead and do that. And thanks for joining us. Check us out at insertcointheater.com. Send us
stuff.
God, it's leaving me. I'm coming down from the endorphins, man. I was getting all into it.
Well, anyway, shout out to Josh again.
Yeah, Josh Zimmerman. JoshZimmerman1.bandcamp.com. Thank you so much for letting us feature some more of your amazing music. We don't deserve it. We are not worthy. And thank you so very much to you for joining us. And check us out on Twitter, Facebook. Like us, follow us. Go to our website. Hit that iTunes link. Leave us a review. It helps us out immensely. Go to Stitcher. Leave us a review there. And like and subscribe on YouTube.
Like us as much as you can.
Follow
us if you'd like.
You can. So thank you for joining us. And
thanks again, guys.
We will see you next
Salute.
week.
Insert Coin Theater.